Good up.
This is channel 253. Beep, boop, boop.
On this episode of the Grit and Grain podcast.
Actually, something we talk a lot about in our tastings in our classes is how much environment affects how you experience something, and how, if it's your first time having a beer and like you are not in a good place or you're hanging out with people that you don't like it's probably going to taste bad. But if you are hanging out with your best friends and you're traveling, or it's vacation, it's summertime in Seattle, whatever, like you could have the worst beer ever and it's still going to taste good to you.
Welcome to the Grit and Grain podcast, where we explore and celebrate the craft beer industry, community, and history in Tacoma, Washington, and surrounding Pacific Northwest areas. Thank you so much for hanging out. Let's get to it. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Grit and Grain podcast, coming to you guys from the historic Parkway Tavern in Tacoma, Washington. My name is Matt McLaren. I'm here, of course, with Ron Swarner.
Well, hello.
How's it going, Ron?
Great.
Good.
This is episode 52.
It is, yeah. This is awesome, and we have an awesome fucking set of guests to cap off this year. Thanks to everybody who's been listening every single week for a year straight now. It's been crazy and awesome, and thank you. As always, if you're free on Wednesday afternoons to come and hang while we're recording at the Parkway Tavern, it's a lot of fun, and you can come and try fun beers, which I'm about to pour while I tell everybody who's going to be here. So our guests today are two badass women in this industry. We've talked about them before, particularly in recent news. One of them was just awarded one of the most recent advanced cicerone certifications in Washington. But our guests today are Shauna and Jess from Seattle Beer School.
Hey.
Hi guys, thanks for having us.
Howdy ho.
Absolutely.
Thank you guys so much for coming down.
Thank you. No, thank you.
I was like pumped that you guys agreed to do this, and I've listened to your guys' podcast, Cheers to Beers, and it's you guys are way better at this than us.
It's all Jess.
But it's man, this is like great, and you guys have done so much and are like connected in 100 ways to this community and to all of the people that we have talked to or talked about for the past year. So it's actually a really cool like capstone episode for the year.
Yeah.
Thanks for rolling.
Thank you. That's so sweet.
I guess before we get into it, what are you guys drinking?
Great question. I'm glad you asked. I have no idea.
Do you want to guess? I mean, style-wise, but think about what I would choose for you.
Yeah, is it Blind Pig?
Close.
What is it?
Pliny.
Double dry hop.
Double DTH.
So fancy.
Honestly, this is dream. This is Desert Island beer. So this is, you know
Absolutely.
me. You know me well.
Pliny's Desert Island beer.
Pliny, yeah.
Blind Pig for me.
Yeah, it's a toss-up.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know. There's a lot of shade being thrown at Pliny these days. I
'Cause
guess
it's
when
like-
you're the best.
Or like all of a sudden folks get access to it in Washington State and they're like, old news.
It's really not that good anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have a really soft spot for Bigfoot. Love Sierra Nevada Bigfoot.
Oh, word. Yeah.
I don't know. I freaking want to carry that
Yeah,
flag.
it is a
till
shame
I'm
Sean is
dead.
not here for this one.
You're also on record with your celebration love.
Oh, yes. Yeah. You say you're going to die on the big
Don't know if you can
hill,
tell by that sound.
but it's
Yeah.
really a celebration hill for me.
Yeah, I feel like that's a crush.
I looked around. There aren't any.
There aren't and there shouldn't be. Because
I know, but I thought it'd be fun.
it would be. You know what's funny? I did see
It
a
would be
6-pack.
for science.
It would be for
Yes.
science. Wait, we didn't I found one in the back of my fridge.
You
like,
did.
Almost a year old. Well, it was like 9 months old, and I was like, here we go.
How was it?
It wasn't awful.
Because Sierra Nevada's
Dude,
so
they got
good
those
at packaging.
DOs down.
Yeah.
Like zero DO.
Zero deal.
Zero DO.
Zero deal. It's like a really good
This is going to be
cologne.
RJ's favorite episode.
Yeah.
Not only does he work for Sierra Nevada, but DO discussions are his favorite types of discussions.
As niche as you could get. Just talking about freaking DO levels.
So thank you for having us on your packaging podcast.
That's about all I know.
That's what we want to talk about today
much.
is bottle and canning.
Oh.
Yeah.
So what you do is you pour it in from one vessel to another, and then you seal it with a thing.
For people listening who don't understand the nerd word, DO is short for dissolved oxygen. It's a measurement for generally how long your beer lasts in a package before it gets all cardboardy and gross. Yeah, we should. You guys should be here every week.
Yeah.
Don't tempt
But not 30 minutes. Not 30 minutes late.
Yeah.
First sound effect.
I know, just for sound effect and like expert commentary.
Yeah.
Lots of Dio commentary.
How long has Seattle Beer School been around?
Well, you started it before me.
I started it before
You
you,
started
but it
it.
didn't. You started it, but it didn't thrive until you came
Yeah,
around.
so-
So it's been 2000. I think I started 2017 because I was pregnant with my eldest, who's 5.5 now. So I think I started it a little before then, but in earnest, when we met, which was 2018,
18, yeah.
19.
Yeah.
That's
How did you guys connect and then realize like, oh shit, we should be doing this together?
Oh, we know that the moment.
Yeah, we have a pretty good origin story.
Yeah.
So we used to work at a brewery together, and I was working there for a little bit before Shauna got hired on. And I just remember being so stoked because I was bartending when her interview was happening, and someone told me that she was a certified Cicerone, and I was like, oh, we're gonna have someone on like the taproom staff that's certified Cicerone. At this
Fellow
point, I
nerd.
wasn't. So I was just stoked about that. So I just like loved her immediately.
I didn't know that part.
Oh,
you never
didn't?
told me that part.
Oh, well, there you go.
True love, baby.
But I feel like our true bonding moment was we were scheduled to work Halloween night together, and I already had it in my head that I wanted to be Wendy from The Shining.
Wendy Torrance.
Yes,
Sweet.
and but I was just like gonna go as her, which no one would get. So I asked Shauna if she would be Jack.
And I immediately said yes.
It was incredible. And you did killer makeup and hair. You somehow made a widow's peak. It was great. And still no one knew who we were. I don't know why I thought.
You can't explain. If you don't know who the Torrances are, you can't help them.
Yeah. And then I did make the mistake of putting on The Shining on the screen. I was like, because maybe if people see it, they're going to get it.
Yeah.
It was an all ages tap room, so that was a mistake. I don't know why I thought that was okay.
It was Halloween. The kids were trick or
What the
treating.
fucking
Right.
story?
And I mean, like, and honestly, not even for the violence, because there's not a ton of violence in that film. It's just like more so like nudity and other issues.
Bizarre.
General horror.
It's upsetting. It's very upsetting. Yeah.
Just nightmare fuel.
Yes, exactly. And that's where the nightmare started a dream.
So good.
So
Did the brewery bathroom door make it?
It did actually make it through.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
it did. Yeah. We made one of them.
Nice.
I did have an axe on.
You did have an axe. Well, it was made out of plastic, but you did have an axe.
But I'm very strong.
Here's Shauna.
There's Shauna. Exactly. We did the best we could. And it was so then after that we started talking about like how much you wanted to do like events and education stuff, and we just kind of bonded over being nerdy, I think.
100%. That's what it was. And then we started teaching classes or like hosting tastings at this brewery. And then we both ended up leaving. And from there, it was like the leaving point. I was like, well, you're leaving, and I don't want to do these classes without you. And you have the Seattle Beer School. So, like, what if I just do that with you and I also leave this brewery? And you just do this instead. I mean, like, we did have to have other jobs, but.
Yeah, it's always been a side hustle, like
Yeah.
a
For sure.
side thing, which is ideal. I mean, I like it that way.
I do too, because then it's like, you know, the phrase, like, do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life. I think that's,
Word.
It's tough though, because then all of a sudden you start not liking the things that you did love because now you have to do it or else you can't eat.
So I guess it's ideal.
So having it as a side situation is great
Modify my
because
dreams.
Yeah.
Totally.
so we can keep the passion alive, we can keep the excitement alive. So when we have Seattle Beer School event, it's like something I'm looking forward to in my week instead of being like, this is what I am waking up and having to do every day, like log in, check emails, blah, blah, blah.
We do a lot of checking
Well,
the emails.
there's a decent amount of emails to look through, but you know what I'm saying. It's not like
yeah.
office job situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that does work for us.
And you're not going to starve if you skip an email for a day.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
How does Cheers to Beers podcast play into all this?
So that was a podcast I had started before I knew Shauna. I started it just as a beer lover. I moved up to Seattle from California in 2013, and I really fell in love with the beer scene up here and started just like trying to find a creative outlet of how to do that. And I had in my head that I wanted to work in beer. So I was like, okay, well, how about I just start doing my own thing and then find my way into it otherwise. So I kind of just started doing it as a hobby, eventually finally got my foot in the door, started working in this industry. And then I don't even know if I like had you as an official guest. I don't think there was ever a point where I interviewed you. I think I was just like, do you want to co-host this with me? Because
Something happened. I can't remember the first episode.
I can't either.
I impressed you.
You did. And I just feel like there's, and maybe you two can relate to having a host is really great because one, you have someone to banter with and bounce off of, but when one person lulls, the other person can kind of pick up.
Totally.
So it just makes the process so much easier. And it was like, we already got along so well and had a really good rapport. So I was like, dude, if you got in on this with me, it'd make my life easier, honestly.
We're also very different.
Yes. So I do
we,
think that helps.
We like vibe well and we get each other. Like
Sure.
we always the gift that we use all the time is like the mind reader.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
Like we're just like
I think it's
same,
like from She-Ra or
same.
something.
Yeah. But we're also different. Like our personalities are different. Like we handle things differently.
We have
but
different
like,
strengths. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So then it was just kind of like a no-brainer to then just loop it into the Seattle Beer School brand because it was like, we're already doing this. People associate the two of us as Seattle Beer School. Let's just like make this all one thing because it didn't really make sense to have like a third entity existing that was a beer-associated hobby but not a part of what we were doing.
Sure.
So it was just like, let's just blend this all together.
Yeah. I mean, they tie in so well. And like, yeah, it makes so much sense that, you know, if you don't come to a class, here's access to some knowledge that we're throwing out anyway.
Absolutely.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, from these people that we're talking to who are like behemoths in this industry. Yeah, some of your guys' guests have been like amazing to listen to.
And I mean, a lot of that was not even us too. It was just people kind of making it happen for us. So we're just
That's
lucky
the
in that
best
way.
way to do
It
it.
is.
It's amazing what will
Shout
happen.
out to Phaedra.
It's amazing what will happen if you just like ask someone. Like I'm always really nervous and maybe I'm like I won't send. I won't like push send for a minute. And then I'm like, what's the worst that can happen? Like if I ask someone, right? What are they going to be mean?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Yeah. And even
know.
if they are, that's when you just dismiss it. And it's like, okay, cool. Like, not dealing with that person.
Didn't want to talk to you anyway.
Yeah. We
Dude,
have a
I
line
totally
of
feel
guests.
that. It's like asking somebody to the dance or something.
Yeah, that's totally
Hey,
what
you want to
it's,
like be on my podcast?
you don't want to be rejected, right? Or like, do you want to help? You like want to be a guest star on one of our events or classes? It's like, what if they say no? And it's like, it'll be fine
Yeah.
We'll be fine.
Who have been some of your favorite guests?
on the podcast.
Yep.
Oh, man. Great question. I mean, I think this past series we did, it was like kind of a mini series of 2 different episodes where we got to talk to some of the women at Yakima Chief Hops. And then we got to talk to Terry Ferendorf of Pink Boot Society. So I think
That was a
just
great one.
just talking
Jeez,
to like
yeah.
really influential women in the industry was really rad. And just to get perspective from different parts of the industry that we aren't necessarily a part of, like you know, we don't work in hops, we're not hop farmers, that whole thing is like a world I'm not super familiar with. So it was just like good to get perspective, but then also feel the solidarity of women in beer too.
Totally.
So I think that was really fun. And then I think selfishly, I just always enjoy a time that we're just talking to one of our friends because it's easy. And it's just like, there's not the stress or formality of feeling like, okay, and now it's like this person I don't know, and you have to be like this, and that. When you can just like,
we've had some awkward moments in podcasts too, where we
Word.
kind of like had to pivot a little bit and be like, oh, that is not how I thought this was gonna go.
that's when you just fix it in post.
Yes, yes. Like people saying things that you're like, wow, you said that out loud.
Yeah, dude.
Oh yeah.
Right.
I don't know if we've run into that. It would be our co-host over anybody.
Yeah.
It's usually 3 of us.
You know, and it's like, you know, we like to drink when we're recording. We work in an industry that's based in alcohol too. So it's like sometimes people just get like a little loose too. And you're just like, oh, okay, well. And I just always have to like, you know, assure someone like, I'm not going to make you sound like an idiot. If you go on a tangent and be like, why did I just say that? I'm going to cut it. I'm never going to like expose you.
Sure.
For,
Yeah,
like,
I mean, she does all the work. I'm like, I just babble essentially.
it's good though. It's necessary.
It's always just like, blah, 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 blah. But you do all the work. So it's your baby, and I'm just happy to help hold it and nurture it.
No, I appreciate
and
it.
give it my bosom.
Dude, I thought the Pink Boots one with Terry was so cool because she's like, it's awesome to listen to somebody who starts a thing that ends up being fucking huge.
Yeah.
And then they're
Yes.
like, she like immediately acknowledged that she couldn't contribute the way that she wanted to anymore. And she was like leaving it to like the next generation. That's like real grown up shit.
Yeah,
And
it was.
it's like, it's crazy here to talk about that.
I've met her, but I had never asked her questions, and I made
Same.
a lot of assumptions about
too.
Pink Boots
Sure.
that weren't fair. And
Sure.
once I started chatting, like we were asking her questions, and I was just like, oh my God, like this is. I obviously didn't think anything ill or like, Pink Boots is obviously amazing, but I've made a lot of assumptions, and like it's so cool when have an honest conversation with someone, and like I didn't know so many of the things that she talked about.
Yeah,
Which is
and
so cool.
it's just like it's human nature to automatically have these biases and opinions on things, right? But if you are just in your own head about it or with someone that immediately agrees with your opinion, it's just kind of like a feedback that's just going and going, and then you're not actually like being exposed to the truth or any other perspective, and that's super important when it comes to anything like journalism, media related. But definitely eye-opening for us. Like, we were stoked to talk to her, but I had some reserves too. I was kind of like ready to be a little
intense.
Tough. Yeah.
Sure.
We were both a little on, like a little
Yeah.
bit, like, okay, we have some tough questions to ask.
Yeah, and she received
About
them.
inclusivity, and it was
Yes.
not. It was received with such grace, and
And-
we didn't even have to ask because it was
No.
just brought up, and
Yeah.
like the awareness of that organization of Terry
Right.
specifically is outstanding.
For sure.
Did you have tough questions for Brandon at BottleWorks?
Speaking of good vibes.
We have tough questions for him all the
You
time.
know what? Those vibes are whack.
Those vibes are whack, bro.
But the beer selection's all right. It's funny that you bring that up. I don't know how many of y'all have been following this saga.
It's like 24 hours
The best.
old.
It's
like,
the best.
I was confused about it. I thought it was a joke. First of all,
I
thought
didn't know
it
what was going on.
Yeah, I was just like, okay.
I'm still unsure.
I'm still-
I don't know.
also.
I think all of us are a little unsure about what was happening. It just was. Yeah, the tough questions for Brandon, definitely could have been tougher.
Oh, yeah.
That was a long time ago at this point.
Yeah. And the thing about Brandon, too, is that he can take it. Like, I can ask him things, or I've called him out straight up on things, and
Yeah.
he's been like, yep, you're right. So
That's legit.
He's honest. It's so refreshing to have people be direct and honest. Like, I don't know if it's listen, I avoid conflict all the time, but when someone asks me my opinion, I'll tell them.
Sure.
It's tricky. So I really appreciate when people are direct and honest and go in where they stand.
Sure.
And it's also a difficult thing to maneuver, like kind of navigate
Yeah.
sometimes.
yeah, I mean, I felt that
Diplomacy
way.
in general.
Yeah.
As like leaders in the industry.
Yeah, you're
like-
just like, oh no,
Right.
what have we done?
yeah.
I mean, I felt that way when we talked about when we interviewed Michael Dempster, but then also we participated with the roast of him
Oh, yeah.
at Browers in the winter.
I was there.
Oh, were you?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that was good stuff.
That was good stuff.
I remember most of it. I remember our
it was
portion
so
of it.
brutal.
It was.
You know what? It could have been more brutal.
It could have been more, especially for us.
We were nice. We were nice.
I was ready for someone to. I was like, dude, the night before, I was like going through my Instagram, and I was like, have I ever said anything stupid? Like,
Oh, I did not
there
do that.
pictures
I knew I had.
That
and
is
I
an
was
anxiety that I could not relate to until you just said that.
Like,
yeah.
Knowing that I was going to get roasted and like
Right?
trying to go through my
And
entire
then they were
past.
so easy on us. I was almost like, go harder, really get at me.
we did, yeah. I mean, we did also. I think most of the stuff they said were based on my looks, which is hilarious because I have a face for the radio. But it was mostly just like I thought it was hilarious.
It was funny.
It was great.
Oh yeah.
But they could have been meaner.
But the reason why I brought that up with Dempster is just like previous issues with labels that he had. And
Sure.
before I interviewed him, I was like, off mic, I was like, hey man, is it cool if I bring this up, if we talk about this? And he was like, yeah, totally. And then I brought it up, and he owned up to it immediately, was like, I fucked up in this way. Sorry, can we swear?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Fuck yeah.
Have I not done that
already
yet? Sorry.
swear during this? I don't know.
Could you imagine if we couldn't?
And he was like, yeah, I messed up in these ways, and this is what I learned from it, and this is what I'm doing to do better. And I was just like, well, that was far beyond my expectations of what I expected
legit.
a white man
Yeah.
to say.
That's legit.
Like,
We had him on too, and like we just wanted to talk about his beer. And,
Yeah.
Great. Yeah.
But like like we've had people on. Dempster's probably the most obvious one because he publicly had a whole thing.
Yeah,
but
he did. Yeah.
But it's like hard to know how to approach that. I am, at least for us so far, it's like, hey, like you've been involved in this thing. How much do you want to talk about this?
Yeah.
Like obviously Dempster's a great example because he actually learned and he came out publicly and was like, yeah, this is not what I thought it was meant to be, and here's what I didn't understand about this, and he like owned up to it immediately. So it's legit that he was able to like get on again and be like, yep, like that happened. And
I think possibly even more important than someone doing that for like our own personal relationship is if it's being published, if it's media, for other people to see that example being done, to be like, it's okay to own up to your shit and then publicly say, yeah, I fucked up, but this is what I'm doing to do better. I think that's so important to see because people are so like prone to just being defensive, which is human nature. That's fine. Like we all do it, but like it's true.
No,
like
totally.
we need those examples of people showing us that you can do it and it's going to be okay.
Yeah, like we're gonna make mistakes, right?
Yes,
Especially like in
we
this
are.
journey of like of so many journeys,
Lots of journeys.
many journeys. But like if you're trying and like you own up to your mistakes, like it's not about you all the time, right? It's about the people you impacted,
Yes.
right? And the people he impacted were the last people that should have been impacted, right? So
because they don't go through enough already.
What was that?
They don't go through enough already.
Yeah, so
Jesus.
it's great when we're able to be like, and I think I sometimes forget that we're up here in the Pacific Northwest, that we're kind of in a bubble in some ways,
bit, yeah.
especially in like major metropolitan areas that.
And in this industry,
Yeah, that
totally.
I mean, and we have a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
And there's other parts of this country that is so much worse.
And like you're right, it's so easy to forget. Like I even just associate Washington State with Seattle because I just never leave the city. But it's like, oh no, there's like so many other opinions and so many other thoughts, and it's like, okay, yeah, it's not this, but important to engage, important to see where other people are coming from, even if you don't agree with it, just to be like, but why?
dude, that's
though?
legit.
Why
That's
though?
legit.
That's
I
hard,
like-
right?
We were talking about whack vibes and all right selections. as things like that devolve into just like people bringing up old shit to each other on the internet, which is oftentimes what happens, especially in the industry where we're all drinking all the time and making mistakes publicly. It's really cool so like, I'm just going to shout her out, but Sarah Mormon, who's another badass woman in this industry, immediately put a stop to it and was like, hey, y'all, we all fuck up all the time. And as long as you're all like cool with the fact that people can change and grow and learn, then just shut the fuck up and quit being mean.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's like the sickest attitude to have
It is.
around here. And it's, man.
Yeah,
It just,
Sam is amazing.
yeah, dude,
She gets it. She's like the most legit.
for sure.
And I feel like we kind of joke every time we just have like any public platform. This is like where the conversation goes. It's like anything like social or political related. We're just like, gotta get our word in about this. So like, sorry to like go off track on what your outline was, but it's like, it's just always what we're trying to talk
It
about.
still comes up, especially with like, especially with everything in Tennessee this year.
You guys were there.
Yeah, man. It was.
Yeah.
But yeah, actually, we're going to take a super quick break.
Great.
But I'd love to hear about your guys' time down there, actually. If you feel like talking about it.
Oh, for sure.
Or we can
up
keep
for it.
it.
We're open books.
Or we can keep the vibes good.
The vibes are whack already, so we might as well keep it up.
So yeah, stick around. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Thank you guys for hanging out. Super quick shout out to Doug Mackey, our wonderful producer.
Hello, Doug. What's up,
Who makes us sound wonderful every single week.
Even from the bathroom.
I know. And shout out to Channel 253. Please go support that wonderful network of wonderful podcasts. And stay connected to Tacoma. And this will be out after the event, but hopefully you guys all got to attend the little podcast fest that we did this week. Sweet. We all have new beer, but we were talking about Kolsch because I have a Nitro Kolsch in front of me. What is the problem with Kolsch?
Hashtag fuck Kolsch.
Hashtag
What
fuck
is
Kolsch.
the problem with Kolsch?
What is the problem with Kolsch?
Why do we start doing
It's
this?
not a nail. It's not a lager. What is it?
This might be the hottest take ever on this podcast.
I don't know. I know. Kolsch has its place, right? and
For
I
fucking
think
squares.
I might argue that it might be one of the hardest beers to make.
I agree.
That's okay. That's legit.
Kolsch is
That's
hard.
valid.
I feel like there's so many Kolsch's you get them, and you're like, it's supposed to be delicate and beautiful, like a crisp linen shirt. And it is like flabby,
So
like
flabby.
a garbage pail.
And the thing is I don't feel the same hatred towards Kolsch.
It's not hate. I never said I hate it.
I know
I
you
didn't
did
say
it. I'm
hate.
sorry. That was my
Hate's
bad.
not.
Yeah.
Don't hate.
But fuck Kolsch.
It's just.
It's hard. It's hard, and a lot of breweries don't do it great.
Okay.
Well, I wonder if it's because Kolsch has been around for a while. Like, it's
For sure.
historical, right? Like, it
Yeah.
has history. And then I wonder, like, is that how people are going to feel about cream ale, like American cream ale? Mm-hmm. Like, in the future,
Who makes a cream ale? You know,
I mean, more people probably. At least it's more interesting than Kolsch.
Just an American Kolsch,
Kolsch is,
right?
I guess. Okay, I guess my
Pelican's
problem
won
is I'm getting
gold.
all sweaty while fucking talking about Kolsch. I've had so many great Kolsch's.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's, I guess maybe it's like one of those things where it's either, wow, chef's kiss, or it's like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a big gap between the stuff that is like is really good, and then the stuff that almost everybody else puts on their tap list because they need a Kolsch line or something like that.
Yeah.
Like the gap between good and great is just enormous.
Yeah, and like, I don't know. I feel it. I guess I've never done like the whole experience of in the Stanges and just like,
Sure.
doing the whole thing. I've never done that, and I think my opinion would easily be switched. Although that's something about
It sounds
me.
like it would ruin all other Kolsch's for you.
well,
Yeah.
yeah. Actually, something we talk a lot about in our tastings in our classes is how much environment affects how you experience something, and how if it's your first time having a beer and like you are not in a good place or you're hanging with people that you don't like it's probably going to taste bad. But if
Oh,
you
totally.
are hanging out with your best friends and you're traveling, or it's vacation, it's summertime in Seattle, whatever, like you could have the worst beer ever and it's still going to taste good to you. So it's
Heck
like,
yeah.
Yeah,
I just had this talk with somebody today. We were doing a like a small event, and she said that she always feels bad leaving beer in her glass, like if she doesn't like it or if she's done drinking.
Yeah.
And I was like, you should never feel bad about that. She's like, I just don't want to waste it. And I was like, if beer is the experience, not the liquid, so like, if it's the experience that you're not digging, leave the fucking liquid.
Yes.
It
Yes.
doesn't matter.
That's actually a really good metaphor, right?
So what would you pick? A fresh pint of Celebration poured by Ken Grossman,
Oh,
or a Kolsch poured by Arno from Fru in Colm?
you know the answer to this question. I mean, Ken.
of course.
Okay.
I think, but although I've never had experience
to
either
Colm,
one of
so it's
these.
like-
Well, and again, it's like we're like West Coast girlies grew up, but like have been around Sierra Nevada for so long.
You know what?
Like
I'm gonna say Kolsch
Okay.
because I think that it's so a mind fuck in a way for me. I'd be like, wow, I'm actually in Cologne, right?
Yeah,
like,
right, experiencing
I'm
this
here
thing.
Yeah.
with the like the person, like the environment was switched up so much for me that like your beer could be not great, and if we're like having a great, it's still beer, and you still made it for people to consume and like to enjoy and have fun. Like then, yes, all for it.
Let's keep this rolling. A fresh pint of Celebration, or another round of being roasted by Dempster.
Another round of being roasted by Dempster.
Hands down.
How about a fresh pint of Celebration, or a 10 a.m. walk to Walgreens in sweats and Birkenstocks to buy a bottle of Bullet Bourbon?
that was me.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to buy that bourbon.
It was the height of COVID. Listen,
Listen.
that's when I was just freshly putting whiskey and coffee. Like, is the world ending?
Fuck
Yeah.
you were doing the Lord's work. You had to do it.
All right,
that.
one more. A fresh pint of Celebration, or a Little Ripper cocktail
A little Ripper cocktail?
from Caitlin.
What?
Caitlin Brame from Yonder.
Oh,
Ronnie likes to go Nardwuar on people.
It's very solid, honestly.
That was a great episode, by the way.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, that was fun.
I don't know. Both.
Tough call.
Celebration.
Both.
Tough call.
Yes, and.
Celebration.
Yes,
One of
and.
them has to be celebration.
I think that I didn't answer Celebration for any of them, so I think I have to say it.
I think it's amazing she makes her ciders after her favorite cocktails.
I think it's a very rad
Yeah.
approach.
Yeah.
It's definitely something I haven't seen in cider before.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's so funny because I like have like narcolepsy when it comes, or like just like amnesia when not narcolepsy. I'm just falling asleep.
Wait.
Sorry, did I tell you guys that I have narcolepsy? I have amnesia when it comes
This is
to
about to
episodes.
get weird.
Yeah.
And I feel like they're more solid inside your brain
Because I have to edit them.
and I don't. I'm just like and then leave.
I mean, it's the same way. I feel that way when I bartend too. It's like
You go and then leave. You're just like, bye.
86s herself, just like
If
I'm
only we
actually
could
gonna
86
fire
ourselves.
I know,
That would
right?
actually be a very. Actually, I do that. I Irish exit.
you do.
I do
I
too.
know.
You
highly
tell
recommend
me.
it.
You
I do
tell
it
me that
also.
you're leaving, and then I cover for you.
That is, I owe you a lot for that. Yes.
oh yeah, she had to run.
Sorry, you know,
You have
kids.
kids.
Yeah,
Can't use
The
that
kids.
it's a good
forever.
excuse.
I mean, you can use it for a solid 18 years.
No, I think Irish exiting is really smart. Like when you're over it and you don't want to like have another
have
beer,
to.
you don't have to do anything. But it's a great way just to leave. You can
when
always
people are
just
drinking,
leave.
I'm never gonna feel
anyways,
bad for doing it again.
No.
I do
Say
it all the
goodbye,
time.
say goodbye to the host, to one person. Say goodbye to one person and say, "Hey, listen, I'm leaving. Bye." Just leave.
I
I'm
feel
gonna
like the
start
only
doing
time
that.
it's inappropriate
Me
is
too.
like a wedding. Like
Yeah.
say goodbye to the people getting
The
married.
people getting married, and then leave.
And
Say
then-
goodbye to one important person.
Yes.
It's like an important person.
So it's like a mini People's Choice Awards.
AKA close your tab and then
Do that.
get out.
Or don't and make sure the bartender gets 20%. But,
Yeah, that's also
but you should be tipping 20% already. Let's be real.
25%, 30%, 50.
Soon we're gonna be broke.
lucky.
Second hottest take,
Yes,
50%.
exactly. So we can go for another one. Shauna, you're on with the Washington Brewers Guild. What is the state of that guild? How are they doing?
So, great question. I'm new-ish, right? So I started in end of April, May essentially. So I'm learning still. I think the state of the guild is in a crossroads. We're strong. We have strong membership. It could be stronger. I think that there's a need for stronger communication and a need for a vision of the future.
Sure.
How are they with small breweries?
I've gotten a lot of feedback that there is a lack of understanding and movement for what small breweries need and want.
Okay.
And I also don't quite yet know what all those things are. Right?
Yeah.
The bulk of our membership are people that make 750 barrels or less.
Yeah.
Right.
And even those people, it's way less than that, right? So my goal right now is to meet with as many people as possible, members and non-members, and just be like, what do you want from the guild? What can the guild do to be better? How can we like strengthen our community? Which feels like one of the most important things, right?
Seriously.
Because we've done incredible government affairs and legislation, right? We are very lucky to be in Washington State.
Yeah.
Right? I
Right.
mean, there's a lot of things to work on, like, you know, shipment out of state, right? So breweries to do like shipment out of state. That's a big one that I've been hearing, right? And so we have a lot of work to do,
Right.
and I just want to know how to be better, right? And how to win people over. Like, come on, we're
Yeah.
stronger together. Like, there's other things we can do to make this better, but right now, things legislatively are not horrible.
And I feel like that's what you've been doing a really good job of so far is I think just because you're so personable, people feel more willing to be vulnerable around you and be like, hey, these are actually my frustrations. Instead of having like a stuffy person come in and be like, so what is it that you need? You know, you're
How can we
like,
bring more synergy?
Right,
Fuck,
yeah.
Don't say that
How
word
can
to
I
me.
loop you in and
gosh,
ping you when I have an
Shitty
idea?
corporate jargon.
one more person ever says ping to me again, I'm ending it all.
Dude, my husband says that.
No, but you're doing a really good job of like literally asking these people, like someone will be like, fuck the guild. And you're like, okay, so, but why though? And can you tell me what your
I
frustration
say,
is?
yeah, fuck the guild. and, but this is your guild.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
right?
for you. Like,
Yeah.
we're
So, like-
you have to pay dues to keep it alive.
Totally.
But it's me and Daniel. It's two of us, like, on staff, right? And the board of directors. But, like, I'm here literally for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like, let's do this. Like, how
Right.
can we make Washington beer, craft beer, the best beer in the nation, right? And it's not a competition, but like, let's
fuck everybody else up.
kind of is.
I mean, like, also, side tangent to that, I think that Seattle and Washington as a whole kind of somehow slips under the radar when it comes to craft beer in the U.S., which is baffling to me. Again, maybe it's just because I've literally only lived in Washington and California. But, like, I'm like, we have such incredible beer in Seattle. And when I look at, like, national publications and see what people are talking about, it is never on the map. And I'm just like, why aren't people seeing this?
We're low key sort of people.
I guess so.
Maybe we're all just in our bubble. Like,
Yeah, I mean, and that might be true.
I've traveled. We talk about this a few times, but like I've traveled a lot and I've had beer around, and like it's wild the concentration of high quality beer here, and it's
Yes.
you know, and like it's part of why the industry is so strong in this area, why there's so many breweries, why we bring home so many medals from worldwide and national competitions. But yeah, it does kind of feel like that sometimes. It's like we have all the game changers. I feel like are right here, and like you guys talk to like 2 of them a year and ask them
Right.
what they're doing.
Right. Or like even just going to like festivals in other parts of the country or whatever and
Yeah.
then tasting through what the scene has, it's like, yeah, this is good, but I'm not blown away by anything. Where like I'm consistently blown away by breweries in Western Washington.
And Eastern Washington, the whole state of
Same.
Washington.
Yeah, dude.
Sorry. I
Spokane's
feel like I
killing
just
it right now.
again, I just
It's okay, you don't work for the guild. It's fine.
essentially my radius is like Bellingham to Tacoma, and that's like all I do.
It's a rod.
It is a rod, thank you.
Before we wrap stuff up, we need some fuck up stories.
Some what stories?
Some fuck up stories.
Oh boy.
Okay, so what exactly does that entail? What do you mean?
So, any near death experiences in the industry, which for some reason just comes up every other time.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, we've all had them. This industry is weird. It's high highs and low lows.
That's true.
And oftentimes we just try to cap an episode off with a low low.
It's always the best way to end everything, right?
Totally.
Hashtag grain.
Hashtag near death. Wow, I've never been near death, but I've
That's good.
definitely been. I've definitely hurt myself.
Yeah, I mean, I don't work in production, so it's like I'm far away from the dangerous stuff, except really only when it comes to cleaning lines. That's the closest I am to any chemicals, which I feel like the one time I got a little bit of caustic on me, I immediately got called out because I wanted to use that as a learning opportunity. So I was starting to develop just a little burn, and I went on Instagram and started a video and grabbed a can of beer to pour over. And again, this is just, it's not severe, but poured beer over and was like, hey, this is something you can do if you have like an alkaline-based caustic that is getting on your skin. Beer neutralizes it. So like, this is what I'm doing right now to relieve
It's a
this
scene
pain.
from Fight Club, just accidentally.
And then I had someone call me out immediately, be like, so you like started an Instagram video instead of just like doing
Fixing
first
this?
aid?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? And I was like, oh,
It's called
sorry.
Seattle Beer School. I'm trying to help you, idiots.
Trying to help people. Did you learn something great? I mean,
Use this Kolsch to put out your chemical burn.
It's the only useful thing to do with it.
Useful use for a Kolsch.
So I feel like I'm gonna have a near-death experience coming up, like by the Kolsch producers. They're gonna be like, "That motherfucker, Shauna."
Yeah, I know.
They're like a mafia essentially. So I'm about to die.
Sorry for fucking up your liaison position.
You're like sorry
For everybody who produces.
sorry
a
that you're
Kolsch.
about to get murdered.
I know.
Yeah, I've never almost died, but I've had weird like interactions like across the bar, like
Oh, sure.
bartending, where it's gotten a little scary.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Only when I worked at Teiku Tavern, I had a really, really weird interaction that like was like, you know, when you get that feeling, you're like, oh no, this is
weird now.
It's about to escalate.
Like
yeah.
things are about to get. I need to. And I wasn't the only person there. It was just 2 of us, and it was not great. And we both were like, uh-oh. And it was cool. Talked the man down from the ledge, but it was.
Jeez. Oh, I think I know this.
Yes. Now I'm not going to go into details.
Yeah.
But it was.
Fair enough.
It was like you almost wish you had one of those buttons under the counter where you could like, because
silent alarm.
you couldn't move because of what the situation was.
Oh, sure.
Like there may have been a weapon,
Yeah,
so it was just
yeah.
very like, all right, well, I'm going to just look at this person in the face and talk as much as I can. And they eventually left, and it was fine. But it was like I thought it was
Totally
gonna be,
not a near-death
I thought it was
experience.
going to be totally near death. Could have been.
There's a lot of TV stations right next door to you there.
Yeah, it could have been like. I don't know. I somehow have some sort of earpiece.
Just immediately to Cairo 7.
Because I'm connected to Cairo 7. Exactly.
Yeah, I feel like when it comes to the concept of a fuck up story, I mean, as a bartender and a server, I've fucked up plenty of times, but nothing that's really notable.
I've fucked up.
That's good.
I fucked up not in like a physical way, but I've fucked up in like other ways.
Like,
you know,
what?
said the wrong thing, or like
Sure.
didn't do like I wasn't as good. I wasn't as like as good of a helper as I could have been, or like, you know what I mean? I could have been a better person.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's a fuck up.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
That's just
Like,
aspirational.
I feel like I would have rather fuck up and hurt myself than like not be available for someone who needs something. I don't know.
That's
You know
probably
what I
the
mean?
nicest
Like,
response they've ever
Fair
had
enough.
for
I
this
know,
segment.
yeah.
I just not like I would.
That
you know.
sounds like the weight of an empath.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yes.
Yeah,
I
maybe.
have a kind of fuck up story, but it's kind of more of like a moral, I guess. Like, and this doesn't have to do with like production or anything like funny, really. But I feel like I learned a really good lesson about not putting a business before yourself. And I'm not talking about Seattle Beer School, but I've definitely been in a position where I kind of put myself fully into a brewery when that brewery didn't have my best interest in mind. And I kind of was like, no, I'm going to rep this and I'm going to go hard for it. And I kind of like drank the Kool-Aid a little bit. And then stepping away from it, I was like, what was that all for? Because I wasn't treated the way I should have been treated. I wasn't loved the way that I put love into that. And it really made me realize, like, listen, it's still a business, man. And I was just kind of a cog in the machine. And I was a really strong cog, but a cog nonetheless. So I think, like, when I think about my overall experience in the beer industry, my fuck up was putting too much trust or too much love into something that was never going to give it back to me. And just knowing, like, hey, don't make your personality a business you work for, because at the end of the day, a lot of times those people are just trying to get their money and they're going to replace you immediately if you're not fitting into what they want it to be.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's probably a fuck up that a lot of people have been through.
Right. And like, not to like shame anyone who's been in that position. I think a lot of us have been there.
Sure.
But like
Myself
for me,
included.
yeah, like looking back on it, I'm just like, and I was also just younger and just less experienced.
It's probably a stepping stone to like maturing as like a
100%,
yes. professional in any industry, but for sure, you learn that shit real quick.
Yeah.
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 All right, Grit and Grainers. Email us at cheers@gritandgrainpodcast.com with your comments, opinions, and theme suggestions for the Seattle Beer School's year-end prom, such as phenolic fever, glycol a-go-go, glitz and grossman, wish upon a sparge, an adjunct to remember, tonight's dream, tomorrow's diacetyl, enchantment under the Krausen foam, under the sea and under attenuated, and of course Saccharomyces in Paris. We read and drink everything we receive, and we try to respond as quickly as we can. If not online, then on air. If you can subscribe to Grit Gran on Amazon, Apple Music, Spotify, Google Play, iHeartRadio, and Stitcher, and please leave us a review. Also, check us out on Channel 253 and gritandgrainpodcast.com. Douglas. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for episode notes, beer news, and year-end responses to listener letters, such as, to Robbie P., the more you know with Matt and Ron is not as good as mashing in the news with Matt and Ron. To Jason C., what? A defense of rogue voodoo donut maple ale? Really now? Necessarily evils are still evils, friend. To Margaret F., the sanity question all depends on our timing and if we have sufficient enough of barley wine. To Susan E., the merch really is coming soon. We mean it this time. Soon, really. Sorry. To Randy C., a stack of craft singles, a sixer of Budweiser Select, and a pack of Swisher Sweets. Take us now, Jesus. To Josh D., we are over the hops and beers can help you get a better tan thing. But we're really always intrigued by new theories that upset old theories, resulting in theoretical speculations that nothing theoretical speculations that nothing is ever as seems at any given moment. Theoretically.
There you go. Nailed it.
To Joan S. Yes, the show us. Oh my God.
Barley wine.
Episode 52. To Joan H. Yes, show us the tape. And not the one featuring the nips or blasting margarine thing. We already own that one. Oh. If this podcast is not what you expected, please alter your expectations. What did the buffalo say when he dropped his son off at the Seattle Beer School? Bye, son. Wow. No such thing as a bad thing to visit Tacoma. No such thing as too much barley wine. Tune in next Friday for more sweet chatter. Cheers.
Oh my God. Thanks again for tuning in. Don't forget to follow us at Grit and Grain Podcast wherever you get your social media and catch new episodes every Friday. Cheers.
Channel 253 is a member-supported podcast network. I'm producer Doug Mackey, and I'm asking you to become a member and show your support. Go to channel253.com/membership to join. Thank you. Grit and Grain is part of the Channel 253 podcast network. Check out our other shows: Nerd Farmer, Interchangeable White Ladies, Move to Tacoma, Crossing Division, Citizen Tacoma, What Say You, We Are Tacoma, Flounders B Team, and Taco Man.
This is Channel 253.
Get up.